Bass Tech fans, what's going on? Here we are, our grand finale, our last Hooked Up Live interview. Can y'all believe it? Tournament was actually going to be scheduled for next Saturday. We've postponed it due to the current COVID situation. So we've got our final group of anglers that we're interviewing. Points champions, Mike Strickland, Chris Gayton, small water angler teams. But first, I'd like to take a moment and thank our sponsors for all that they have done for this year's Hooked Up Live. We greatly appreciate each and everyone's support. During these shows, we are going to be giving away free items. If you haven't took and ordered your angler jerseys, get by and check them out. G2 Gemini jerseys. All you have to do is get on there, log on, check them out on their website. You get 25% off any apparel order. G2 Georgia spelled out 20, and you get 25% off any apparel. We appreciate the partnership with G2 Gemini jerseys. Rejuvenade. We're going to be giving away one of these bottles right here in my hand. Rejuvenade. This could be yours. All you have to do. Oh, sorry, my green screen. Look at it. You can see right through that bottle. I promise you, it's not completely see-through. So we'll be giving away one of those bottles away. It helps take and adds additives into your live well. Just for example, today we caught fish, made sure to put that stuff in there to help keep sustained during the day, and they go back into the water healthy. We appreciate Rejuvenade sponsorship. Dugout Bait and Tackle. If you haven't got down there and checked them out, I'm going to tell you what. They are pushing a lot of kayaks lately. Boy, I have seen them. If you're in the market for buying a kayak, get down there and check them out. They have got bait and tackle, live bait as well. You name it, they've got it down there. Craig, Jamie, all those, the family from Dugout Bait Tackle would be glad to see you. So get down there and check them out. We have Line Taming Serum. We're going to be giving away one of their bottles of Line Taming Serum, which I've got right here. I'm trying to reach over here and grab as I'm speaking. Going to be giving away one of these bottles, Line Taming Serum. This stuff is amazing. Line conditioner additive. I actually had to take and put it on my rod today, my reel, so that way take and keep that line memory coil from happening. Then we have one of these neck gaiters, aka maybe the COVID mask. If you want to get out in public, go grocery shopping, get out there as well. Not saying it'll guarantee you protection, but you know what? Better than nothing. And you can take and sport some of your favorite apparel. So, Line Taming Serum. And then I've got another item with Line Taming Serum that we're going to be giving away. Oh, my goodness. A blank bag. Nope, it's not a blank bag, folks. I've got a green screen, so you cannot see at all. But you can see the, where's it at? Right there. You can see it's a rod cover. So, Line Taming Serum has given us one of these, and I'll leave a picture so that everybody can see it. But whoever asks tonight the best question, we're going to be giving away this blank bag so folks can get it. So we appreciate Line Taming Serum's partnership. Jumped right back on board with us again this year, and we greatly appreciate it. Castleberry Performance Lure Company. Boy, I don't know about y'all, but I'd seen them today. If you hadn't got over there and checked them out, man, I heard that quite a few of their folks done pretty good today. So congrats to those men. Castleberry, we've got some jigs that we're going to be giving away. Also got, this time of year, it's about prime time for it, ain't it? Chatterbait. It's chatterbait time. And it's getting past post-spawn. We're getting some shaky heads. So if you want to, get over there, check them out. Castleberry Performance Lure Company onto their Facebook page. I believe also to give another shout out through with the Fish North Georgia folks. They've got their tackle sales that goes directly through them. I know Castleberry, I believe, is on partnership with them as well. So get over there and check them out. Line Taming Serum, I believe, also is with them as well. So get over there and check them out. So no further ado, men, Mike and Chris, welcome.
How are you? Thank you.
I appreciate y'all taking time tonight and getting on here and giving these guys some opportunities to get on here and fire away some questions at y'all.
We're waiting.
So first off, I know I've said this to y'all before. I'll say it again. Congratulations for the 2019 points champions, smallwater angler teams, for being a double qualifying again, or not double qualifying, second year qualifying for the Georgia Bass TEC. Y'all were, there's nobody else got a title like y'all's. And there never will be anybody that has a title like y'all's. So y'all were the 2019 initial Georgia Bass TEC champions. Congrats.
Thanks. The only thing that would make that better is being the 2020-2019 champions. If we could back that up,
that would be awesome. That would be awesome. So I know we got some folks that's jumping on here, and I kind of want to do the same thing what I've done the past few interviews. Chris, Mike, you know, in the past, I used to sit down with a set of questions and give y'all, you know, the questions that I'm going to ask beforehand. But I like to try to get a little bit more Q&A interaction with our folks that tunes in, watches through with the live streams and stuff like that. So make sure folks share. This is one of the key elements that we're going to be giving away these items. You have to take and like it and make sure to get out there and share it, okay? Through with this Facebook, you have to get through and sharing it out there so that way folks can see it. That's the way you're going to be entered in for all these drawings. And like I said, I don't know if y'all heard it, Mike or Chris. You see this clear bag? I've got a green screen in the background. So everything that's green blanks out. So you can't really see it, but this is a rod sleeve from Line Taming Serum that's solid green. So obviously it blanks it out. But for the best question asked during tonight's show, and I mean, we're going to have to take and, you know, I don't know how we're going to judge it, but the best question that's asked to y'all, we're going to be giving away this Line Taming Serum rod sleeve weight in particular. So, so Ron Pendergrass, he's the first one that's got a question on here for y'all. How, and this is part of y'all's deal that y'all done for the Bass TEC interview after it last year. How did y'all catch the fish at the TEC last year? Go ahead.
A combination of a few different things. Actually, we sat down the night before in the cabin and built a couple of different styles of spinner baits. Caught one fish early on a bright, just a gaudy looking spinner bait that we built sitting on the couch in the cabin. Caught the rest. I caught the rest of the fish that I caught on a spinner bait as well. Mike?
We had a few fish that would swirl. I flipped a little bit and caught us a limit, and then because we kind of got off our big fish, and then we got back on them about 2 or 3 hours later and figured out what they had done. And Chris was throwing a spinner bait, and I was backing him up. So if they swirled on the spinner bait and missed the spinner bait, I'd flip a Cinco in there and catch them.
Yep.
So it's like a 1-2 punch.
I mean, mine was a half ounce double willow spinner bait. I mean, that was it. Big blades, big bait, brim pattern.
So that was a good question there from Ron, because I mean, that time of year, I know this, y'all are big blade fishermen whenever it gets that time of year, Chris, and I'm trying to post it and it wouldn't let me. So great question, Ron. Wes saying, what's up, guys? If I remember right, hey, Wes had a good day today. That was one of the folks that, wasn't it Castleberry that I said, guys, wasn't it?
He did.
I mean, what day was it where? Yona, wasn't it?
Yes.
14 pounds. They had like a 5-pounder or something like that. So congrats, Wes, on that big old bag of fish that y'all had today. I tried typing something and entering it in. For some reason, it says an error occurred. Wait a moment, then try again. I hope I ain't getting any bad feeds or anything like that, but this is still streaming live. So just make sure to leave us a comment if y'all are able to take and hear us well and everything like that right now. Leave us a comment just to make sure. So Wes Wilson's got it. So, and I assume this is to both of y'all. What are y'all's go-to baits?
Go-to baits for me. It's hard to say. I don't
have a go-to.
Yeah,
it just depends on the conditions.
Yeah, we're kind of versatile in that. You know,
well, let's say if you were fishing right now, this moment, this day, what would be your go-to bait?
Right now, post spawn fish are kind of moved. I would say
that's a tricky question.
Yeah, I like a glide bait this time of year. Glide bait,
chatterbait,
depending on the conditions. A chatterbait,
but sometimes they're not hitting anything moving, so kind of got to back up and throw something slow.
Appreciate it, Wes. Wes is letting us know everything's sounding good on his end, so appreciate that. So let's talk about we had some previous conversations in our last pre-interview about y'all's boat setup and the way that it's got to today is technology's big. I mean, both y'all men know it. I mean, I've gotten to the same way as what you had said, Mike, in the pre-interview, that you ride down a lake and you see all this activity or you see no activity. And it is so hard to sit there and just, if you ain't seeing nothing, to just stay in the area, right?
Right.
So I'm going to do, I tried pulling it up on here, and I'll show you kind of what it looks like when I pulled it up on here. And I'm gonna open it up in a different way because everybody's going to probably like, let me get my fingers over here and try to zoom this thing in. So I'm going to do share screen for just a moment. If I can figure out, make sure how to do all this. So hang tight. All right, here we go. So everybody can see this. You can see it too, right, Mike and Chris?
Yeah, it's pretty good picture.
Absolutely.
So I zoomed in a little bit, and that helps it a lot. So talk about this. What exactly is this that we're looking at, so that way folks can really understand? And I'll try to make sure to move my cursor over everything.
I bought a Humminbird 12.
Gen 3.
Her Humminbird 12 makes maps and does all sorts of stuff. Me and Chris were up on Latham. We were trying it out, I had a Humminbird 9. I still got it. I've got two on the boat, the 9 and the 12. And so I was trying to figure out, how to read it, what fish look like on it, whatever. This is actually a school of fish. And we went over this up at Latham. And I told Chris, I said, wow, look at this. And so we kind of pinpointed them. We threw everything in the tackle box at them, couldn't get a bite. And I had saved that picture on the screen. And I told Chris, I said, these can't be bass. I said, man, we thrown everything in the book at them. And I blew on the Humminbird 12, you can actually zoom that 3 times instead of 2 like I have on my 9. And if you blow it up like 3 times, if you actually look at the shadows on the Humminbirds, the shadows tell you more about the fish than the actual fish, which is the white part up there in the black. That's the actual fish. But the shadows are over here to the left. It's actually a school of crappie. And if you blow that up, you can actually see that the fish, look, the shadows actually are the shape of like brim, which is a school of crappie.
So that was one thing that I did notice about the picture. I mean, I'll try to zoom in without maybe messing up the resolution on it, but I mean, you can
see the tails. You can see, they're going different directions. You can see they're actually kind of short, like thick.
Yeah. So like these are showing the returns on them is kind of longer and narrow, but then whenever you're, like you was mentioning, once you get to the actual shadows casting of it, you can tell that they're a thicker fish.
Yeah. So on the bottom, on some of these bottom images, you can see the pectoral fins, just the overall shape.
So let's go. I don't remember if that other one, I had to send them to myself. That was the same one. Let's go back into here. So here's where the zoom in resolution. It's always so hard with taking pictures on graphs. Never do it justice, does it?
Well, you can see the sunlight. You got so much glare on the screen there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because I mean, you always get And I ain't savvy enough, but there's ways you can do the screenshots and uploading them and everything else like that. But I would assume this is the shadows from it zoomed in.
Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They were actually suspended about 5 foot off the bottom.
Yep.
Suspended about 5 foot off the bottom, and just that was good shadow casting. And
But I can tell from like this one how it's more of a football shape to it, to where it kind of has that crappy look.
If you look at the one right in the bottom, kind of in the middle, not one more to the left. Yep, right there. You can kind of see the perfect shape of a crappie.
Yeah, you're right. This being the tail.
Yep, that's it.
Yep, and it's going away. That is really cool.
It's changed the way I fish. Anyway, I'll just put it that way.
Oh yeah.
Our tournament last Saturday, Merrick, on a hickory log. Every fish we saw like that, we caught. We caught probably 30.
Man, I don't even want to talk hickory log. I had a blast with my niece. I really did. But man, we've seen so many big fish. So many big fish.
Electronics is a game changer. I mean, it really is. It's especially I've been able to use the Garmin Live Scope. I don't have it on my boat now, but fishing Lanier, I fish several the Hammonds tournaments and stuff up there, and you pull up a brush pile, you scan it, if there's fish there, you don't even make a cast. Put your trolling motor pull your trolling motor up and go to the next one, and you can actually see fish come out of those brush piles chasing your bait, make them react to your bait just by knowing what's going on under the water. It's pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I know Lowrance, if I'm not misspeaking, they come out with something that's similar, but it's not. The technology is not there. They have the capabilities of doing that. I just think it's more of a copyright licensing agreement. So still probably a couple years out for them to release their updated version.
So sorry, I'm trying to share this out to different pages, different groups. That way different folks can get on and see it and stuff like that. And log on. So I'm a multitasker when it gets into this. So, okay, Ron had another question to ask. I believe he's already asked one. He may not have asked one. What do y'all think about fishing this event coming up in November? What do y'all guess on the weights that'll take to win going into November?
I'm thinking over 25.
I don't know. I mean, that's a tough one. I'm thinking more about like it was last year for the March tournament, maybe 20 pounds, 21 pounds. November is kind of a swing month for me, and I've never had the opportunity to fish hard labor at that time of year. But, October is a swing month into November. I really like, December, January, February. That can all be really good, but it can also be really good in November. Just depends on where the water temperature's at, really. The water temperature and
what the weather's doing.
Yeah, weather will play when I say weather, I don't mean the weather that particular day, but the weather leading up to the tournament, including the day of the tournament, could play a major factor in what the fish are doing.
So y'all had talked about it going into the 2019 event for Georgia Bass Tech, that y'all had y'all's game plan. I mean, everybody does this, okay? Whether or not every single time, but everybody has done it to where you've got everything strung up on rods. You know what location of the lake you're going to. And y'all ditched it. Y'all just scrapped it and went a totally different, even cutting line and tying on new stuff too, right?
I don't think we changed our baits. I think we just changed our location.
Yeah, well, we kind of yeah, I mean, we changed our location. We kind of changed our baits too the night before. You know, it was. I made for me. I made a decision. I told Mike. I said, you know, I'm gonna stick with these 2 baits. I'm gonna live by it and die by it. And Mike, you know, I don't think he really changed at all. But it was key.
Where the spot that we started in, we were actually going to second. That was our second spot, and then when we just figured, we knew that if the fish were there, whoever got there first was going to catch them. So we changed up and went there first, and then our first spot actually ended up being our second spot, which is where we had finished out our limit with small fish, and then we just after that we kind of went hunting again with some stuff that we had found the one time that we'd been on the lake just looking around.
Yeah. We really caught a big break in that tournament, to be honest with you. We were, I was kind of throwing out behind the back the clear line where you're throwing around bushes and everything else, and was throwing that spinner bait and was slow rolling it back in, just trying to make sure I got the whole, you know, all the loose line off the spool, and caught a key fish that keyed us into the fish, you know, backing off the banks where earlier that morning they were on the banks, they backed off later. You know, we were fishing it during the cold front. We made an adjustment, backed off. I actually started fishing about where the boat was sitting.
Yeah.
And it paid off big time.
So going into this November, y'all ain't going to take and scratch any plans going into it. Y'all are going to stick to your initial thoughts and initial game plans, ain't you?
Right now, we don't have one, do we?
No, I mean, we're just going to kind of, honestly, you know, we're going to see. I mean,
well, we had one for this coming weekend, but we got, you know, they canceled the tournament, so now we're just like, well, we need to go down there and try to. I think we're going to spend more time on the water this time than we did last time. We only went down there one time before the tournament.
Yeah.
How about this? Do y'all mind sharing what maybe y'all's game plan thoughts were going into if the tournament was going to be next Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's kind of that. I think that lake is, you know, there's threadfin in the lake, but I think that those big fish are keying on brim. You know, me and you've talked about it. Me and Mike talked about it several times before. I just think a big bass, when I say a big bass, a bass over 5 pounds, just has to burn too much energy catching small threadfin. And they can set up shallow and eat they get a lot bigger meal with eating a brim and don't have to work near as hard to do it. That lake's got plenty of bank cover out to 30 feet, from the bank to 30 feet. So I mean, some type of, for me, it was going to be some type of pop-ar, also maybe a buzz bait first thing, transitioning into maybe a swim jig, you know, a brim type pattern, or maybe even a threadfin pattern, a couple different types of swim jigs and jig, and, you know, maybe a wacky worm or something. I don't know exactly what we was going to do. We just kind of, we go into every tournament with a game plan, and the key is, you know, making that decision when it's time to scrap what you're doing and try something different. I mean, I think that's the key for everybody in every tournament. You know, and for me, it's fishing my gut. You know, fishing with my time on the waters. You know, I've been fortunate enough to spend a lot of time on the water, and just fishing what I'm feeling works, and then backing that up with a confidence bait, something I have confidence throwing. You know, and when you get away from that as an individual, I think I can speak for everybody with that. When you get away from that, you don't seem to fish as well. So
I agree to that. I mean, you've got to take and I thought about it even today, fishing the tournament today, and I know both of y'all would agree with this. We all get stuck in our own rut. Each and every one of us. Like, they were here at this time of year, same weather conditions, water conditions, everything's still the same. They were here last year. Why are they not here again this year?
Because something was different. You got to fish the time. You got to fish the day. It changes by the hour.
And I'll tell you, this season has been it's been
a true spring.
Yeah, well, it's been a different year. I mean, I think there was fish on bed today at Latham.
No.
I was catching fish there 2 months ago. I mean, I caught a 6-pounder 2 months ago on bed. Several fish. Actually, I fished a little. I was actually the filming I was doing with North Georgia. Every fish that I caught that day was a bed fish.
And that ain't no fun, is it? Catching bedfish.
No, I mean we got some good action shots on that, and some good underwater footage, and that was kind of our goal when we went out, was to get that underwater footage and to get some good action shots, and it ended up working out. But that was 2 months ago, and here we are today, 2 months later, and another wave of bedfish. So I think that the temperature this year is just really fluctuated so much in the water temperatures. I mean, 6 weeks ago, the water temperature at Latham was almost high 60s, fixing to bump 70, and then it dropped back down in the low 60s and even got down in the high 50s at night. So, that's a pretty crazy temperature change, especially for those fish. And I think it puts a lot of those fish in, I don't want to say shock, but really shock. I mean, they're just like us. I mean, we walk out of a 70-degree day and you go outside and the temperatures change 20 degrees and you're like, man, it's cold, when it's really not that cold. It's just what you're accustomed to.
Right. So we've got a question, and I know Chris's answer, I do believe. Wes wants to ask, do you guys have any superstitions or lucky precautions you take or do before a tournament?
Oh, boy. Wes, you put me on the spot. We used to be friends. No,
I mean, hey, I could actually ban somebody right now if you want me to go ahead and ban Wes from asking me a question.
No, it's fine. Yeah, I'm gonna let Mike answer that one first.
I don't do any pink underwear, sock on. Yeah, I don't have anything. So, do I need to move over here?
I mean,
so it's yeah.
I'm going to get off the screen now.
So yeah, Wes, I appreciate that question. I do. The only thing I do is I actually have a tournament pair of boxers.
I knew I should have over here.
And he still hasn't washed them yet.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Green polka dots.
I forgot about that.
Did you hear me, Chris?
Hey, we lost you, Merrick.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
There you
go. Sometimes it does that whenever I come back in. So I guess you didn't hear me what I'd said. You still haven't washed them since last year, right?
Yeah. No, I do that. I'm only wearing them for special events now. They're getting a little wore out.
Okay, so
I appreciate that.
Wes does say sorry, but he loves y'all. So
time he goes to the tournament, everybody's gonna be pulling his pants down, see if he's got them on or not.
Well, and it's funny you said that, because somebody else put a comment on here that said the same thing. That basically, I'm not going to go there. How about this? I'm not even going to say it, but there it is. You can, Mr. Warren, what he said. So,
oh boy,
appreciate the humor here. So, I don't know if Wes is saying you're not the only one that doesn't wear any on tournament day. I don't know if that's what he means, maybe. I don't know. So we're going to change subject now.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
It's a G-rated, people.
Yeah, keep this family oriented. I know YouTube has the thing to where it says, family oriented. So, going into this event, and I know this with y'all's boat setups. Tell me, which boat are y'all planning on taking and fishing the state championship out of? Because y'all both have boats.
Yeah, I mean, we really don't know. Last year, actually, I didn't have a boat at that time. I'd sold my boat that Mike had actually kind of laid out for me and built. I'd sold it, and this year I've got a newer boat, a 1860. It actually belonged to Aaron Cole, and he had it built out. Or Russ. I think Russ had it built out. And we'll probably go back with Mike's boat again. I mean, his electronics or my electronics are not to where his are. I'm working on upgrading those now, but the first thing I'm gonna do is upgrade my front trolling motor.
We lost you, Chris. Black screen. There you are.
You have me?
What happened? Yeah, it just did the phone drop.
No, I don't know what. I got a phone call, but I've got it on private, so I don't know why it. I got it on Do Not Disturb, so I don't know what it is.
You might need to turn the cell data off.
Yeah, hopefully it won't.
Yeah, we'll see. If it happens again, we'll keep running.
I actually brought my boats. We talked about doing it, but Chris said if he goes outside the house, we may lose feed. So,
Gotcha. So, and I know this. Talking about your boat, Mike. Last year, y'all were by winning, y'all received the power pole coupon that was given, and you actually went through and purchased one, right? Tell us a little bit about that micro anchor.
That is a game changer. We use that on Rocky. We found some fish on some shell beds, and it works just as well as the ones on the big boat. My boat's with Chris's stuff, and he and I in the boat's probably over 2,000 pounds. And that micro anchor is set up to where you can actually adjust how much pressure it puts on the pole. And like if you're in the wave action or whatever, it will actually keep that pole connected to the bottom of the lake. I didn't realize that until after I bought it, but it's a remote control. If you've got the Hummingbird, you can do it through Hummingbirds. Got a Bluetooth program on their graph that you can attach and work everything from the graph. Like I said, then it's got a dash mounted little button, and it's also got one on the unit itself that you just hit. You just double tap a button and it goes down, hits the bottom, and it will hold you there no matter what.
And that's for when you talk about the Hummingbird being able to connect in through with it. I would assume it's like Gen 2s and higher.
Right.
Yep.
Right. I don't know if anybody watches. I'm old school, so if anybody watches On the Water with Hank Parker or whatever, he runs Hummingbirds, and he's got the 2 talons on the back of his bass boat. And one show he had was he had just got the new 12 Hummingbird on his bass boat, and he had the Hummingbird rep out there. They were Bluetoothing everything together to where he could work his talons from his graph if he needed to.
Man, I tell you what, amazing.
That's really key too. I mean, in a situation like that, for me, when you get in real shallow water and the shell beds up there are really shallow and you're on some of those flats, and when you're getting real shallow water, I think as quiet as you can be is a lot of times I'll turn off all the graphs, don't turn the trolling motor on. If you're stuck there we would move up a little bit, put the anchor back down, and sit there and work those out pretty good, and we'd catch We caught a lot of fish that day, but we'd catch them until we quit catching them on them shell beds, move to another set, and do the same thing.
Yeah, and it's awesome for pulling up on a bed fish. I mean, you don't have to hit the trolling motor.
And I would vouch for that. That's something, what you just said, Chris, would be a point that it may be good for a lot of people to start learning to do if they have it. And I've done it before, and it seems to work. Either if you're in shallow water fishing, or if you even get into those summer months to where maybe they're offshore fish that maybe are getting more pressure than usual. Correct me if I'm right. I mean, sometimes you get down there and you just cut that sonar off, so that way you're not sitting there hearing that sound that's emitting in through the water. You do that from time to time, right? Not just bedding time, but throughout the year.
Actually, we used to fish Cedar Creek with SWAT. I took a guy that I went to school with, hadn't seen him in years. We hooked up on Facebook, whatever, and he wanted to kind of get into bass fishing or whatever. So I took him up to Cedar Creek. And right before, if you're going up the lake, right before you get to that upper island, there's a little, right where the lake turns back to the right to go that road, that actual paved road. You got that island up there, that upper island. You got that little pocket right there where the timber ends. I don't know if the timber's still there or not. There used to be just a little cut. And we were actually on the opposite side of that. And I heard this bunch of splashing going on, and I turned around and looked. And the bass had pushed the shad to where the shad actually jumped up out of the water on the bank. And so I told Shannon to cut the trolling motors on. So we ran over there, shut them down, threw in there, caught one fish. That was it. I said, okay. So we fished around there for about 10 minutes or so. I could see him on the graph. I said, okay, fine, be that way. So I went back over because we was getting bit on the other side. So I went back over the other side. About 10 minutes later, here they go again. They're pushing the shad back up in that pocket again. So I ran over there, caught one fish, and that was it. And I said, man, this is crazy. So we left, and I told Shannon, we didn't go back to the other side. We just backed off of them. I cut the electronics off. About 10 minutes went by. They started pushing the shad back up on that bank again. We eased over there. I can't tell you how many fish we caught.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in that. Those electronics are pinging and ticking, and I don't want to say that. Well, I mean, yeah, I would almost say that bass almost condition herself to that. And a lot of people say, "Oh, they're not that smart," but I would have to disagree with that. I mean, I've seen it several times,
especially in there.
Well, you got take this for example. You got to think of this. If it's summer months, them fish are offshore. Say you have a 5-pound fish swimming. Most time that time of year, they could be 5 foot, 7 foot, 10 foot of water, roughly, could be suspended, chasing bait. And you drive your boat over it, and your transducer's just there underneath the surface, say 2 foot of water. 2 foot to 10 foot, that ain't very far distance. When you're driving over it or even close to it, I mean, that emits a sound a long ways. So that's a good point. That's why I wanted to make sure to reiterate that again, because that's something that everybody needs to maybe jump on board, start trying as well.
There's a trick to that. We went out to Ryan Coleman one time just for the heck of it on Lake Lanier, and you driving over the fish with your electronics on, basically driving over a point to see if they're there, checking a brush pile, whatever, doesn't bother them as bad as sitting on top of them and pinging them and trying to drop straight down to them.
Yeah.
That's when they get
they can feel it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been on Lake Lanier before too, and just jump, be a hot summer day or whatever, be in some, shallower water, jump in, go under, kind of cool off. And when you go underwater, you can actually, I mean, it's just tick, tick. I mean, it's loud to you, that's underwater, or loud to a human underwater. So, the lateral lines, I think it messes with the lateral lines on the fish, especially in muddy water. I mean, they're ultra sensitive.
Yes.
And that's how they feed a lot of the time in murky water. And that's just, I think it's key a lot of times, and turning those electronics off, even if you locate a school of fish and they're not moving, they're stacked up somewhere, just maybe even turning those electronics off. Or
best thing to do is just try it and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean the last 2 tournaments I fished, I knew the fish were shallow, and it's basically just covering shallow water. I'll turn
No
those
need.
tanks off.
Yep, no need for them.
Yep.
So Michael Geiger has got a pretty good question to ask here. With the average tournament weights at Latham, I mean, I was thinking this before he even asked it. Like, how am I going to go to this question later on in the show? So, with average tournament weights at Latham down this year, what do y'all think are the main factors that is causing this decline of weights?
Bluebacks. Do you agree?
No.
I don't think there's as many. I know they're still in there, but.
So for me, I think pressure, one. Pressure is a definite factor. I mean, they're still there. You still got your bigger fish there. I haven't seen anything over 6 pounds this year. Last year, I caught there was like 19 fish over 8 pounds that I know of caught last year.
I've caught 2 over 9 out of that lake.
But, you know, in 1 year, going from 18, 19 fish over 8 pounds to I've not heard or seen one this year. I think a lot of it's due to pressure and bait.
Fish are getting smarter.
I wouldn't say so. For me, I'll go back to the thread fin thing. Those big fish cannot maintain their size out in open water, chasing schools of thread fin and even blueback. I mean, chasing those schools of blueback. Yeah, bluebacks get a lot bigger and but for me, you know, a couple years ago, was it last year or year before, we went out in the winter and all those brim were dead for some reason. They had a big brim kill. That hurt it. That's 2 years. So it was 2 years ago.
Yeah. Then year before last, we went out in the springtime and was just riding around the banks and at all those big, huge fish we saw.
Yeah.
Just cruising.
Yeah. You know, the big brim kill, I think, is part of a factor. The pressure. And my thing would be, I think what would be a major rebound for that lake is stocking that lake with something like gizzard shad. Shanno Garman, he, you know, Fish North Georgia's interviewed him a few times, and I started following him. He's a biologist, and he has a lot of interesting information. One of the biggest things that he said that stuck with me is he has never found a trophy bass lake that produced year after year after year that was not stocked with gizzard shad. That is a main forage, and I think a prime example of that is Rocky Mountain. If you don't find the gizzard shad, the big fish may be there, but they're not eating. Those gizzard shad get up and those big fish get active. That's when you, I think Tim and Justin's bag of fish this year would definitely, you know, back that up. They had 28 pounds, almost 29 pounds.
Yeah.
This year in a SWAT tournament, and I think gizzard shads, you know, would be great for that lake. That brim kill though was definitely terrible for Latham. Like I say, I just think those big fish, they sit shallow. They may not stay shallow all the time, but they're not far from the shallows. They're going to be on those transition places. But I really don't think those big fish, you know, 5, 6 pounds or larger, are going to be out there chasing balls of herring and threadfin in open water.
I would agree to that.
I like to see a size limit put on that lake. 16 inches and make it be enforced.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people up there and there's so many people taking, I mean, even 10-inch fish they're taking out of there.
Yeah, but I mean, also to that point, you got another thing that you got a bass heavy lake or, I think there's plenty of fish still left in the lake. It's just the forage to make those fish grow.
Which it did there for a while. I mean, it was amazing.
Absolutely. And you know, I think that the more I think about it, the more I think that brim kill. I mean, we went out there that winter and there was thousands and thousands of brim from 2 inches long to 7, 8 inches long, just floating on top of the water. What caused that? It could have been an allergy bloom. I don't know.
And didn't they have something kill all the catfish out of the lake too?
Yeah, they had a catfish kill as well. And I actually remember 2 years ago that, what was that, 9 something y'all caught?
Yeah, old JV had that 9-pounder, had that daggum catfish choked down its throat. That sucker stayed in that thing's throat till weigh-in. I was so glad.
Yeah. Yeah. All you could see was the tail stuck out of the catfish.
And if I remember right, he saw that on your electronics, didn't he?
Yeah. When we came back the other day, it was just like, there it was. Yeah. We made a cast. We had one fish, one 12-inch fish in the live well, and it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yep.
Yeah, we was across the lakefront when we watched y'all do all that.
Yeah. So, okay. Ron Pendergrass said this. I don't want to talk about me, talk about y'all. Ron Pendergrass made some points about agreeing that, maybe pressure alone between tournaments, local, stuff like that. But he made a kind of a different point. And I ain't trying to get into, a biologist or anything like that. But here's another good point. Altoona, he's saying, has gizzards in it and bluebacks. So in comparison, maybe, and I guess that's maybe looking at it as far as comparing it from Altoona to Latham. Like, here's the main goal. Like, we all want the same thing that everybody else does. We want to see these fisheries continue to grow big fish. Anything we do to try to help, correct me if I'm right, that's we don't want to hurt it. We want to take and help it.
Absolutely. So I would think, though, and Altoona is
it's not a big. It's never has been a big.
Yeah,
fish.
I mean that lake's kind of. I think it's just got so many fish in it. Honestly,
what do you mean no big fish? Chris took and went last Saturday and caught a big fish out of there, didn't y'all? You and Nick?
Yeah, we seen a couple fish bigger than the one that we caught. They were feeding in no water on a shad spawn. Couldn't get them to eat, but we seen them. For the only difference I would think that I see in Altoona and Latham, I mean, you can go to Altoona and fish a stretch of bank that's maybe 100 yards long, and when those fish are eating, you're going to catch 30 10-inch spots. I mean, it's unbelievable at the amount of fish, the amount of small bass in that lake. And I honestly think that hurts a lot. They take up a lot of your crawfish, your smaller forage, your crawfish, your different stuff like that. No, they don't affect the gizzards unless, the gizzards are spawning. They're eating the smaller gizzards. But there are some big gizzard shad in Altoona. So that's a very good point, though.
I mean, it is. That's why I was sitting there. I was wanting to bring it up. Ron definitely did. So, Cody Watts got a question for y'all. Do y'all think fishing the smaller lakes helps you to fish bigger lakes like Lanier in any way?
I think yes. Anybody that's got a $80,000 bass boat that thinks they can come to these lakes against anybody that fishes these things and beat them, had better think twice. I found that out when I first started fishing with you guys back 11 years ago. I told me and Tim White used to fish together, and when we got in the club, and I told him, I said, "Oh, this is going to be like a cakewalk." I've been fishing big lakes since 1983, and qualified top sixes and all that other stuff, and so does Tim. And I said, "This is going to be a cakewalk." We got there and got our tails handed to us several times, and I think it makes you better fishing these lakes and then going to the big lakes.
So for me, I think anytime you're on the water, and I know this is very broad, but it's just what I believe. The more time you can spend on the water, the better that's going to make you. The more well-rounded that's going to make you. When you're out practicing, pick up a bait that you have zero confidence in and make yourself fish it if it's the right bait for, if there's a shad spawn or they're feeding on shad or brim, either one. I never used to throw a chatterbait. Picked it up and started throwing it a lot. I actually caught a 4-pounder the first day I picked it up. Threw it all day long, caught a 4.5 pounder on it, and have thrown them ever since. So I think that's
he never used to throw an A-rig either.
Yeah, A-rig, man. I never threw an A-rig. And Mike, he takes me up to Carter's re-rag, and he's like, "Man, I want you to throw this A-rig," and it was unbelievable. I mean, we had over. He got about 20 something pounds in re-rag. He had a spotted bass that's over 6 pounds. Yeah, it was. I mean, it's. I still got pictures. Yeah, it's that's my biggest thing is fish when it's not. I always say during the tournament day, fish what you got confidence in. But what's key to me is fishing what you don't have confidence in those days you're not out there fishing those tournaments. And look, I mean, if you can build confidence in several baits, that's what's gonna, make you a better or more rounded fisherman, and taking those to those other lakes.
So I'm going to pause you for a moment because it's so funny the way that you're talking and answering this question of Mr. Watts. It's the same thing, Bryson Hall's question. So saying the same thing, going from big water tournaments to electric world, how has the fishing on the electric side improved your guys as anglers? Do you think it's improved your mental game more, or do you believe that you have learned more physical tactics to catching fish without the resource of, say, for example, a large gasoline outboard? So you've pretty much went into the mental, like not necessarily mental, but the physical parts of it. But what about like the mental side of it from that aspect? And I'm going to have to take Bryson's comment down so that way we can actually see y'all's face.
Yeah. Hey, great question there. So where it's helped me, and I think everybody will agree on this, is having to break down that water. You don't have the luxury of, to Bryson's point, of picking up, run into another creek or run into another top end of the lake. Yeah, I mean, you can move. There's a million things you can do on Lanier, and you can go from one extreme to another. You don't have that option in these smaller reservoirs. I mean, first of all, just having the ability to cover that much water, and there's not that much. I mean, there is, but it doesn't seem like. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I mean, you just got to be able to really break down that water and figure out something, whether it's a reaction bite or something to make those fish eat. Once you find the fish, you don't leave the fish. You kind of come up with a game plan on these electric only lakes, and you somewhat stick to that game plan because hickory log. If you run to the dam first thing in the morning, there's a few places that you're going to bypass to get to that one spot. And you can probably hit some of those on the way back up. But then if you start running into these arms and doing this other stuff, all of a sudden you're looking at battery power. I've got to have enough power to run 30 minutes back up to the boat ramp. So that's actually why I like this, because I used to have the Skeeter bass boat and stuff. But when Kevin got me fishing this thing, it adds a whole nother twist to it. And the fishing is different because you don't have the generation of the lakes moving the water, and that turns the fish on no matter what the barometric pressure is doing or whatever. When they start pulling water, it starts pulling bait across them points. Fish move, they know that, they move up and they start feeding. These lakes don't have that option.
And if I remember, we've had a previous angler that has said, correct me if I'm right, kind of the same thing y'all talking about, referring to there, maybe when just hunkering down, really having that game plan. Like you're not going to be able to, patterns are different for these small lakes, right? I mean, you may not be able to take and run 20 coves in a day. I mean, some of these lakes don't have 20 coves. I'm being exaggerative there, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to be able to just go to this cove, that cove, that cove, that cove on different parts of the lake. So, you know, mentally going into it, you already know you've got to take it slow down a lot.
Well, I'll tell you a prime example of that really quickly. So a big talk during the Lanier tournaments, especially like your bigger tournaments, you'll hear the guys that won it were north of Browns Bridge. The south end hasn't turned on yet. The north end's turned on, but the south end, or vice versa. These lakes, when they're shut down, they're just shut down, and it's a grind. It's a grind.
Anybody that fishes big lakes knows that the upper end of the lake always warms up first, always spawns first. Then you follow the spawn down the lake to the dam, and you can't do that. I mean, it's you just got to try to do something to make something bite.
Different lakes set up different ways, just like what you said. There's, you know, Latham's one of those lakes that there's an upper, a mid, and a lower.
Yep.
Like Hickory Lock, I haven't yet seen that pattern yet. I ain't figured it out.
It was close last year, just a little bit.
This year, kind of.
Yeah, well.
But, you know, okay, let's move on to the next question. I don't mean to sidetrack. Alvin Eli Self, what type of structures, areas do y'all throw an A-rig in the weather conditions? So maybe expanding a little bit more maybe there on the past topic.
I'm going to let Mike answer that.
Again, it depends on the conditions. Electronics play a big part. You've got to find the bait. If you find the bait, then you've got to find the fish. If the fish are suspended, you have to count down the bait. If it's not suspended and the fish are on the bottom, then you throw it on the bottom. I've caught fish in 25-foot water with it. I've caught fish in 3-foot water with it. It's over ditches. There's a place up on Re-Reg that we like to fish that's a ditch. I mean, you set the boat up on one side, you throw across it. It's like anything. I guess that's why we have a hard time coming up with what's our go-to bait, which is one of the questions we were first asked. It depends on the day and what the fish are telling us.
Yep. So, I mean, I agree with Mike. I caught them, and for me, it's more of a winter into spawn bait. So after the spawn, I mean, there's situations where you'll still catch them. I mean, if they're feeding on shad heavy and you know, they're sitting out there suspended where you can count it down, reel it through them. But I mean, I caught fish this year going towards the waterfall at Latham. There's a ditch out there. It's like 40 foot deep.
Yep.
And I actually threw it and caught fish on the bottom in 40 foot of water throwing A-rig. Also caught them on a jig, but yeah, it's, you know, since I've started throwing it, I've caught them in all different types of situations throughout the year.
Let's think of it like this, okay? Maybe expand a little bit further on it. Eli's up there for Dahlonega John Boat. He's president of Dahlonega John Boat. And, you know, predominantly they're Yahoula, you know, originated in the area for fishing Yahoula. We used to fish it back in the day, Mike, in our SWAT trail whenever we were a smaller club. So do you see like an A-rig where it's going to work on one lake instead of another lake? Because would you plan to go to Yahoula and throw an A-rig?
Probably not. There's too much under the water. You will never get it back.
Yeah.
All those underwater trees and stuff in that lake, you'll never get it back.
So an A-rig retriever is key.
Yes, has saved us a lot of money.
Yes. So we throw light wire hooks on and have an A-rig retriever, which is basically just a big weight with a big treble hook on the bottom. It threads on your line. You drop it down, hook your A-rig, and straighten them hooks out to get your A-rig back. I'd rather lose a couple cent hook than a $25, $30 rig.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, even, you know, it's just tough when you got a lot of structure and you're fishing a shallow lake. Even if I mean, there could be a place for that, though. I mean, I'm not saying that you couldn't catch them on it. I mean, you may be able to go, you know, just they may swim bait heads they're actually weightless.
Yeah.
It's just a hook weight, and just let the weight of that A-rig, sink it rather than an 1/8 ounce or a 3/16 or whatever else you would normally throw.
I have seen some guys, and I can't remember what the rig is, but it's like a wide gap hook, and it's got a little real lightweight head on it, and basically you can put your swim baits on there and
weedless,
like you would a fluke, and make them weedless.
Yeah,
you can come through brush that way. I have not tried that yet. I don't know, because that kills some of the action of the bait. But from what I've seen, it's like anything else, America. It's got its place in its time. Cold water is hard to beat.
Definitely
hard to beat that bait, and in the wintertime, it's some of the most vicious strikes you'll ever get.
Yeah.
Yes, y'all are hard to beat when it comes January.
I think it's caught a 30-something pound striper this year.
Yeah.
I caught one last year.
Man,
but and look, I mean, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's a great bait that I never used to throw.
Yeah, and it's I don't know. It's just experience. I'm not going to sit here and try to tell these guys, because, I mean, it's trial and error. Everything that we've done, everything that we do, every way we fish. I mean, somebody can go out there and throw a Carolina rig and catch fish, and you'd be right in the back of the boat with them, throwing the same bait, same worm. But if they're working it there, if they're hopping it, not dragging it, or if they're dragging it, not hopping it, I mean, it's technique.
So that's one thing that what I was talking about just a second ago, Mary, is picking up those baits that you don't have confidence in and don't never throw, and throw them. And it's just throw them. Dedicate. If you got an 8-hour fishing day, dedicate an hour to it.
Figure out how to make it make a fish bite.
Yeah. And that's a lot of times what I'll do. Like I said, I'll tie 4 or 5 baits on it I've never thrown before, that I know it's going to, if they're shallow, it'll be a shallow water bait. If they're deeper, it'll be a deep water bait. And I'll make myself fish those, and then I'll go to what I know works.
How about this? Name some baits that maybe, if they're, I don't know if y'all are willing to share it or not, but some baits that y'all want to learn more about. How to fish it, conditions, like what's something that maybe you've just thought, or have you thought of any lately that's like, I need to improve to that level of that bait?
I need to learn how to throw the swim baits, but
hard baits?
The hard baits and the plastic. He's pretty good with it. I'm just something that I just look at this bait that's 14 inches long. I'm like, there's no way in God's green earth that the fish is going to hit that. But they do.
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
He's pretty good with them, but I need to do more of that.
It's a love-hate relationship, ain't it, Chris?
It is. I mean, you may throw it all day and get one bite, but that one bite could count. I mean, actually, we had that happen. I think, Mike, you was in South Georgia, and I fished a benefit tournament this year, and with a friend of mine, and he was actually got it on GoPro. It was pretty cool, but we were throwing big swim baits and caught one 10 minutes after the tournament started, a 6-pounder. It's I don't know. It's one of those deals. And we threw it the rest of the day and had a bunch of followers. Never got another bite on it.
So, okay, when you're saying you'd like to learn Mike swim baiting, have you eyeballed any in particular? Like, because there's so many different styles to the swim baits. They're depending on how many joints they got. There's the glide baits. There's
right, and I've been doing. I haven't dedicated myself to it. I haven't went out and spent 40. Some of these are 40, 50, 60 bucks baits. But I don't know, America. If you remember that state championship, that last one that we had that was on down there in Forsyth, Georgia, the guy won it throwing them big swim baits. I think you were up there with him, and he was sitting on one point, and he was throwing them out there, and we got second on that state championship, but he got first, and he beat us 8 or 9 pounds.
Randall Kirkpatrick, and he's probably even on here watching.
Yeah, so and he makes his own swim baits, and I've looked at them, I've watched YouTube videos on them, and I just can't make myself do it, but I'm gonna have to.
For for me, the swim baits are an addiction. I probably got, gosh, I don't know how much in them. I mean, I've got a couple boxes full of them.
And Chris, you would agree with this. It's almost specific like an A-rig. There is a time and a place.
Absolutely. So for me, it's kind of the same as an A-rig. It's winter, early spring. When I say early spring, it's for me, in the winter, I'll throw a sinking type Huddleston swim bait, trout or something in that nature that I can throw out, big bait, and work it across the bottom. And the spring, it'll be more of a pre-spawn. It'll be more of a soft plastic, like a mag draft, Mega Bass mag draft. And then after the spawn or during the spawn, that time I also throw that bait, but I'll throw more of a triple jointed, like a sweep bait or like a depths glide bait. I also throw the depths glide baits. I got several glide baits, several swim baits. The bull shad is a great swim bait that's worked in all types of situations for me. It's more of a, it's a big, I don't know, something about the swim baits.
So let's hear it, Chris. Mike said his part. What's a bait for you?
No, I'll tell you.
He's avoiding it, wasn't he, Mike? He was avoiding it.
I'll tell you something. I've only ever caught one fish on, and most people talk about it all the time now. It's a Ned rig.
Yeah, I ain't throwing Ned rig.
Ned rig. I'll take that back. I did throw a Ned rig at Carter's re-rig. Well, it wasn't really a Ned rig. It was a
wannabe.
Head,
Yeah, it was a wannabe.
A Ned rig, though, for me is just, I have no confidence in it. And I've thrown it quite a bit and caught one fish on it. Most people are like, man, it's an Ned rig, you're wearing the fish out. But
I just don't see him catching the size with it, though.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen some pretty good fish come off of them, but I don't know. I'm more of a moving type bait. Now, one thing I do that I used to not throw up until this year, really, is a jig. And I've caught a lot of good fish on a jig this year. Actually, we were just talking about the Altoona fish, the 5.5. It come off a jig, Castleberry jig last weekend. Not this. Yeah, I think it was last weekend we finished that tournament. But anyways, the Ned rig for me, I don't know. I just can't. It's just something I don't have confidence in, that I probably need to throw a little more and learn to catch fish on it. But I'll go to a shaky head or a drop shot or a small Kitech on a single Kitech on a swim bait head rather than a Ned rig.
That's a good question. So Eli's got another question here. What are y'all's pre-fishing techniques? Because, that's sometimes some people say that it helps, it hurts. What do y'all do when y'all go fishing, looking? Do y'all shake off any of those bites when you go out there pre-fishing?
I think that depends on the situation.
Yeah, like when we go to Rocky, we always take off like Thursday and Friday. The tournament's on Saturday, so we'll go up there and maybe catch one fish here and one fish there, kind of look at places where we think the fish are going to stage at. But you don't go up there, and this kills me. I know a couple of guys, not in our club, not in SWAT, but they're fishing some other club. I'm not going to say any names, but they go out pre-fishing 2 days before their tournament and just, oh, man, I caught 30 fish. Oh, yeah, well, guess what? You're not going to catch anything on Saturday.
Yeah.
Sorry. Ain't going to happen. So if you're going out a week before, I usually try not to pre-fish. Monday be my last day to pre-fish. We're fishing Saturday.
Yeah, like we went to Rocky this year and we pulled up on a spot, seen bait everywhere, fish everywhere.
Again, electronics.
I threw a 1 ounce spinnerbait out, let it sink, slow rolled it through, caught a 6-pounder.
Yeah.
I mean, that was literally our first fish that morning.
And left. Boom.
And
left. That's all we needed.
We left those fish, went a few more places, never could locate the fish we were looking for. Seen fish in several places, just couldn't get the bites we were wanting. Went over to another spot. Mike makes 1 cast, found some fish. Mike makes 1 cast, catches another 6-pounder.
Yep.
And left. We pretty much called it at that point.
We caught a 6 on one lake and caught a 6 on another lake. And so we kind of had an idea of where the fish were going to be or where they were at and what it would take to get them. So,
but again, on that tournament, we found the fish. Well, I'll say on that tournament, we found the bait, and the fish were actively feeding. The next day, the bait had moved, and those fish were there. You just couldn't get them to eat anything.
Yeah.
That's the tournament that 100 yards from where we were at, or 200 yards from where we were at, Tim and Justin.
And we actually fished that area and I caught 1 2-pounder.
Yeah, I caught one that wasn't even a keeper.
Yeah, so we didn't bother to even go over there.
But the bait had moved to that area.
They left our area and went to his.
Yeah, and I mean, he absolutely put on a clinic. It was unbelievable. I knew we were in trouble when they started pulling 3.5-pounders up and looking at them and throwing them back. I was like, yeah, that's not a good thing for us. But you know, to give another example of that, Alvin, I went out and pre-fished. I'd never fished Altoona or Stamp Creek. I fished Altoona maybe 15 years ago, but I never fished Stamp Creek. And I went out the weekend before our tournament over there and found a shad spawn, and literally never. I caught 1 fish there and seen the fish that I wanted to see, left them alone, and left.
Yep.
Never.
So the next question, maybe expand on that a little bit more. And I don't believe I already know the answer for Mike. Have y'all ever used or seen any aqua views? If so, do you think it could help in the reservoir lakes we fish?
I have used it a lot on most of the lakes that we fish and on big lakes. And no. I'm going to flat say no. If you buy one, you're wasting your money, because even on Lanier, you get below 10, 15 foot of water if you're just going in a creek or something, or, and I know guys that have taken to put those things on PVC pipes and stuck them up underneath docks and stuff to look. You can't see but 4 feet in front of the stupid camera. So it really does you no good. Your electronics show you so much more.
Yeah, I would say I've never even used one. But I would say 10 years ago, absolutely. But the way the electronics have advanced today, I think you can see everything you need to see with electronics.
You've got to learn how to see. You got to know what you're looking at when you're reading your electronics.
I mean, that
time on the water practice.
I mean, they basically could call the aqua views for the hummingbirds and the Lorenzes and the Garmins, all of them. I mean, they call them live view, the scope, whatever it's called. And all that. I mean, you've got it where you're seeing it. You don't really need it anymore. You're right.
Yep.
Yeah. That's Saturday when we were fishing hickory log. I told Mark, I said, hey, man, there's fish under your rear end. And he was in the back of the boat, and he just lay his jig rod down and take a Cinco and just flip it over the trolling motors to catch fish. We caught so many fish that way Saturday.
So
it was fun.
All these questions that's being asked, y'all make sure, again, just I'll pause for a moment. Make sure, drop us a comment, leave us a question. Okay, we're going to be giving away. If you hadn't seen it, nobody really has because of the green screen. If you hadn't seen it in the beginning, I promise to y'all there's something in this bag. Okay, you can see right here where it says it. Line Taming Serum is giving away one of these rod sleeves. We're going to be giving away for the best question asked on this Hooked Up Live. So you still got some time. Get on here, leave us a question, like it, share it. That's the way you get entered in for all of these drawings for these items we're going to be giving away. So I was going to show a video as far as I know you've seen it. It's on Decked Out John's page. I hope to see y'all again come up to that stage in November. Not necessarily trying to make y'all sweat it or anything, but you know this, looking back on it, the anxiety that you get from those moments. Like that's what drives us all as anglers. Am I not right?
Absolutely. I get it. I'm getting anxiety thinking about it.
We're going to have to give him something if it happens again like it did last year. We're going to give him something to calm him down because he was pacing the parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
We ain't got it. We ain't got it. It's going to be close. It's going to be close.
And if I remember correctly, JV came over to you and he's like, when you pulled that one, the best quality fish that y'all had, I don't remember the weight of it, but
well, they were all close to the same weight, but yeah.
But there was one that was just
580
more.
That was the first fish we caught that morning.
We had 580, a 540, a 480, a 460, and a little something 3.5, 4 pound fish.
When JV saw that one come out, his exact words, I remember hearing it on the video. He's like, that one done it. You've got it. Don't sweat it.
Yeah.
But boy, you still sweating it.
Oh, yeah. The first time I've ever heard JV be serious. Normally he'd be like, oh, you ain't got it. You ain't got it.
That is true. Like, you just lost, dude.
JV likes to give people a hard time. And I was like, man, when he said that you got it, I was like, I don't know. Maybe he's messing with me.
There's a still shot. If you go back and look at that, I don't know who's got it, Bass TEC or whoever. But anyway, they took a still shot, and you see Chris back there in the back of the boat getting the fish out live well. You see JV's back, and he's talking to him. That's what he's doing. You got this, man. Calm down.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, he did. So I don't necessarily, I ain't going to show the video, but I've got the picture. That was the moment.
We're watching the scale.
Just before, I mean, you couldn't, I feel bad for Bobby Hood because y'all are seeing straight through him. I mean, like, he is non-existent. Just, I would have watched that scale to see where it's at. So, big difference between this picture and this picture. Big difference. Like, y'all are totally like, I can breathe again. I don't see it much on Mike's face as much as what I do Chris's.
Oh, man.
Hey, we're both right there. We're both like, I can't believe this just happened.
Yeah. But I can read it on your face on this one, Mike, from before. I really can. But that was y'all's winning bag, and man, I hope to see y'all's hands slapped full of some big fish. And honestly, I hope we have to take multiple different pictures of all 5 of the fish that y'all catch because you cannot.
Chris has actually got 2 fish in his right hand. He's a little over 3 pounder behind that.
Yeah, I don't know what I was doing. At that moment, I was just breathing, really.
That was a fun day.
It was. It was.
So, I think we had another comment to come in. So Eli had another question. How do you target suspended fish? How would you go about targeting them?
Several ways. Suspended fish for me that's probably the hardest fish to catch.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, I mean, I've caught fish out of 20 foot of water, 15, 20 foot of water, eating top water on a good clear lake with a good loud bait and a lot of reflection or whatever the case may be. That
Jerk bait sometimes.
Jerk bait. Yeah, jerk bait's a good one.
Fish head spin.
Fish head, kind of counting it down. A contact, just a single contact, counting that down. A rooster tail, man. I've caught a lot of good fish over the years. I don't throw them so much anymore, but in the past, I've caught several good fish on a rooster tail, counting it down over on Lanier, over brush piles or whatever the case may be. Spy bait. Spy bait's another good one.
Yep.
So when I know there's suspended fish, what I'll do normally is I'll have a whole deck full of baits specifically for those suspended fish, and just I'll work through them until I find something they're going to eat.
And to be honest with you, the suspended fish thing, there's some things he's really good at. Some things, I guess that's why we work so good together. Some things he's really good at, and catching suspended fish he is really good at. So, but here's the thing: I didn't have the 12, and we were in I go in my boat, and he goes in his boat, and we were out on Latham, and he says, "You don't see that school of fish swim by off the left side of the boat." And I go, "No, my graph doesn't show that." Because on the one that on the 9, the boat has to be moving for it to show anything. Well, on his Lowrance, it could be your boat sitting still, and you can see the fish go by. And so that's why I spent the money for the 12, and now the 12 does. But what he does is he sees a fish swim by, and he throws to him.
Yeah.
And there's a technique to that. I can't tell you what it is. I'm not. I mean, that's up to him. But it is a whole different way of fishing.
I'll tell you 2 more baits that come to mind would be a spoon, a flutter spoon, and a light jig, like a 3/16 ounce jig with a big trailer on it, so it's a slow fall. And a lot of times you can throw that to those fish, and
like a swim jig, you mean?
No, I'm talking about a just
like
a regular,
bitsy bug or something,
like a regular jig. Castleberry, I think they've got it's a mini flip series. Get it, and I've got them in a lightweight. Put a big trailer on it, and it's just a slow fall, and just something about that jig falling in front of them, they react. That's one of my new favorites.
So you're talking favorites. Ironically, here's the next question. You didn't even get to see it beforehand. What are both of y'all's? Give them both. Mike and Chris, what are y'all's favorite lakes to fish?
Mine would be Latham. I really enjoy targeting those suspended fish, the challenge of it. Mine would be Latham. If hard labor was a lot closer, it would probably be hard labor. I mean, that is a special fishery.
Yeah, that's we just don't fish enough. But mine's pretty easy.
What's that?
My number 1 lake would be Rocky.
Yeah.
I've weighed in multiple bags over 21 pounds up there. And the other one would be Rejuvenade. I love it in the wintertime. I love it at night.
Love and hate, right?
No, I love it. I don't care if I zero. I love fishing that lake at night. That is one of the most beautiful lakes. Just the mountains being around it is just absolutely gorgeous.
I agree. Something about that lake.
Yeah, I tell you what, I was up there last year with my daughter, and she's big into astronomy, and she can set their name off all the stars and all this other stuff, So I was running across the lake without the lights on, and it was dark. So, and we were actually looking upward. Looking at there's the Big Dipper. There's this, there's that constellation, there's this, there's that, and all of a sudden we get blue lighted, and the DNR asked us, some reason why you don't have your lights on? And I said, well, yes, sir. We were looking at the stars. And we were. So he let us go.
Yeah.
But that lake is it's just beautiful. I love Carter's too, regular Carter's. It's just a pretty place.
For those that don't know it, I don't want to go into it, research it. That was on one of the largest areas where the Indian tribes used to be, was there for the re-reg. And it is very, very intriguing.
Yep.
Very intriguing. So that's a good question. So I know we've been rolling for over an hour, but something I kind of want to leave the microphone to y'all to discuss if you want to discuss, if you don't want to discuss. There's been a lot of topics, a lot of people, a lot of calls, and a lot of rumors and different things and everything else. So, Chris, if you want to take and just put it out there, so that way maybe a lot of this talk will, get heard straight from the source, you can
Absolutely.
go for it.
Yeah, no. So, I think Geiger spoke a little bit on his video about it. He was looking into, he had been working on putting something together, for another tournament trail. And I'd been talking about it for a while, working on some different things, worked with Fish North Georgia a little bit. And I called Aaron, last week or this week? Actually, it was this week, about putting together a tournament trail. He's like, man, why don't we just bring back Bang and make it big? So that's what we did. Myself, Aaron, really, and then me, Geiger, John Long, all kind of got together and talked about a few things. So we put together a tournament trail for this year that is I'm pretty excited about.
Next year.
Next year, 2021. I'll start in January. Pretty excited about it, man. It's kind of it's $150 membership fee, $130 to fish each tournament, but the payouts are big. $1,000 for first place, $200 for big fish on a 20 boat field. We'll have angler of the year that'll get $1,200, and then the classic. So the classic, we kind of set it up to where we wanted the anglers coming back. So you fish 5 out of the 6 tournaments, and you automatically qualify for the classic. The classic will pay $3,500 for first place, and it goes down from there. Fourth place, I think, is the lowest paid. I think it's $550, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have everything right in front of me, but kind of wanted to get something together that was, a trail where the best. I mean, we've got some of the best fishermen being it that's going to participate. A lot of competition, high stakes, a lot of money to be won, but something we can all enjoy and have fun doing. There'll be a schedule will be coming out pretty quickly. We're working on building the website now for Bang. Like I said, Bang's I think it started in 2009.
About the same time SWAT did.
Yeah, 2009, something like that. Went for years. Aaron kind of took off for a year, and we got talking about it, and opened Bang back up after taking off for a year, but it just really put a lot more money into it. January 2009. There you go. Thank you, Russ.
Yep.
Russ was actually the founder of Bang. Hey, and I owe Russ a thank you. I think, myself, Aaron, all of them do. He's allowing us to use the Bang name, Bass Anglers of North Georgia. Russ actually founded that club and come up with a name. And if I'm not mistaken, Aaron run it last few years before it took a year break. So thank you. I really appreciate that. And, another thing about this tournament is we're going to have a mixture of anglers from the north, is what we'll call it, north of Atlanta, as well as anglers from the south and from the west. So it's split three tournaments north, 3 tournaments south. We're fishing Latham, Rocky, Hard Labor,
Black Shoals.
It's Latham, Rocky, Hard Labor, Hickory Log, Black Shoals, Hard Labor, January through June, and then a classic will be drawn in June for a July tournament. We put a little off limits on it, a 5-day off limits, just to kind of keep everybody, if we're fishing a South Lake, so we can't pre-fish right up to the tournament. If we're fishing a North Lake, we can't pre-fish. So the South guys can't pre-fish right up to the tournament, and then if we're fishing a North Lake, we can't pre-fish right up to the tournament. It kind of keeps everybody on an even playing field. So you can pre-fish the weekend before, but just not up to the tournament. I'm excited about it, man. It's got a lot better response than what we was expecting. When we first talked about it, we had a whole list of that filled up quicker than we thought. We was expecting a lot of no's and didn't really get any. Just to be honest with you, we got 1 or 2 that's kind of on the bubble just because of scheduling, and we got another thing is one sub. So that was kind of hard for some of the people because they got a normal partner that they fish with that, that may not be able to make every tournament, but we're only allowing one sub throughout the year unless something happens. And I think we've seen that here in SWAT a couple of years ago. God bless him. But Randy's brother, had a stroke and had to have a permanent partner change. So, it was, he's okay though. He's doing a lot better. I know Randy's got him out on the water a few times and and that's kind of the reason why we put that rule in place. But what we're really wanting to do is work with the other clubs out there as well. We know some of their anglers are going to be fishing in it, and we want to work on the scheduling part of it because, like for me, I know I'll probably fish 2 trails. Mike will be doing the same, I'm sure. Most people that are fishing don't want to leave their home clubs. They want to, fish the clubs that they fished for years and still be able to fish these as well. And I'm excited about it. Meet new people, or fish against those people more often than once a year. So exciting.
So I don't know if I'll say this or not, because that's why I wanted to give opportunities. That way you can throw it out there, because man, people have called and not to the point I'm like, look, I just call and find out for yourself. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. So Tim, I don't know if I can say it to maybe his tone, but Bang is back, or it's more of a statement. Bang is back. So I know I'd seen on Facebook where it was saying, Bang is not back, blah, 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 and all this different stuff on their Facebook page back during the week. So I guess maybe that's Tim's standpoint. It is back.
Yeah. Like I said, we're excited about it. And, we're just working on getting stuff together on paper to get out to everybody. But like I said, it's exciting. There's going to be a lot of money involved, a lot of great anglers involved, and we got a 20 boat cap. That is one thing that we did, was a 20 boat cap just for some of the lakes we fish. You get over 20 boats, and it's hard to get in and out. Like I said, we're trying to draw those top anglers from around the state, or from say just below Atlanta north, to fish together in this, but also allow them to, to stay true to what they've always done. So, hopefully everything works out. We're all excited about it, and there'll be a lot more to come on it.
Awesome. So, man, I greatly appreciate y'all tonight sitting down, taking time, going through this interview. As painstaking as it is, maybe of all the hot seat questions and different things that's asked, but I know this. At the end of the day, you can tell somebody blue in the face what to throw, how to throw it, but if you ain't got the confidence, it ain't gonna matter. So, people tell me all the time, I caught them on this bait, that bait. I believe y'all are the same way. You stick to what you're comfortable with, your own zone. I don't even care to watch people's rods or anything. You know what I mean? Like back when I was younger, I might have done that, but now you can't change me. Like it's just,
you can't fish another man's game.
That's it. And if I could, so for me, if I could give anybody any advice, it's what I said earlier about pick up that bait that you have no confidence in. And if it's the right situation, whether if you can work it for suspended fish, or you can throw it on the bank, or you can throw it out deep, pick up those baits and go fish them. I never, like I said, I'm still working on a Ned rig. I don't know. It's just not my style. But jigs, believe it or not, I really didn't throw hardly at all up until earlier this year. And I've caught a lot of good fish on them. a lot of good fish. I mean, I think that could be said, you know, across the country. A lot of big fish come off jigs, and you know, Castleberry, you mentioned them earlier. Just I'm gonna throw this out there really quick. I've got the same jig I've had tied on, and I think I told Bryson the week of that turn. So it's 7 weeks now, 7 or 8 weeks. I should have been keeping exact count. The same jig, and I beat it off rocks. I beat it on the concrete. I actually, before I ever tied it on my rod, I threw it across the concrete because Bryson told me to try to beat it up. And it's unbelievable, man. I don't know what to say. I mean, I don't think, in my opinion, there's a better one on the market. The weed guards,
the skirts hand tied.
Skirts are hand tied. Weed guards they're a good. You know, I'm not cutting any. Normally, I would cut, you know, trim the weed guards and stuff. Not having to do that. I've not busted the paint yet. And living rubber, you know, they got a living rubber series. He's got anything you can imagine, but just gonna throw that out there. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So Eli did ask, and I know some comments kind of bouncing back and forth about when the schedule can be expected to be released for the new bank schedule. I know Russ said basically a response back to him that it would be out soon. Yep. Eli was pretty much saying just that way other club presidents can build theirs around it if needed.
Hey, that would be awesome, Eli. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, we're going to release it very soon. I would say within the next couple of weeks, it will be out there. And you know, that's really the whole goal. That's why we want to get it out there, because we know we've drawn a lot of interest from the clubs throughout the state, and or throughout the, you know, the I guess it's through the Bass TEC family. Really, a lot of those members are coming, and you know, we wanted to get that schedule together and get that out there so that hopefully, you know, everybody will work with us on it. And we really appreciate that, because like I said, this was in no way, shape, or form, you know, to degrade or deface any other club. And we just wanted to put something out there that really hasn't been done in the electric boat world, as far as you know, entry fees of $130. I mean, that's not very cheap, and the membership fees are not very cheap. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of money on the table, and it's going to be good, fun competition. And
you are paying 100% payback.
100% payback. It's 100% payback. All that money. So the breakdown is $130 on an entry fee for each tournament, is, you know, per boat, and 10 of that will go to Angler of the Year, 10 of that will go to Big Fish, and 10 of that will go to the Classic. You know, every tournament. So that's where we get that big. You know, potentially, if you're Angler of the Year, you win Big Fish and you win the Classic, you're looking at almost a $5,000 payback. You know, payday. So it's exciting. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
We'll be looking forward to seeing all those results. Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, man, hey, unless nobody else has questions to bring up to discuss, looks like we have our set of questions that's been asked tonight. Those are the ones that we're going to take and go through and select which one was the best question for the night.
Good luck.
I may sit down with both you men, Mike and Chris, and see what y'all think for vote, or shoot, I may even put a poll up and just see.
Poll.
Do what?
I said, let's do a poll so we can get some more interaction.
Yep, I'll see if I can get
decisions.
So that way we can try to see what everybody thinks. But man, I really wish y'all the best whenever you get into the event coming in this fall, this winter, November. I'm gonna be right there with y'all, following y'all around, rooting y'all on. Bring home the 2020 Georgia Bass TEC Championship again.
Man, I'm looking forward to it.
We're going to try our best.
I get that nervous feeling thinking about it, but hey, I mean, honestly, that's what pushes me as a fisherman, and that feeling right there, and knowing, you know, that title, and just, man, it's exciting.
It'd be sweet to back it up, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's exciting.
So it's kind of bittersweet. This will be our last interview for the year, all the way up till November. We may get on here and do some different stuff between now and then, but save the best for the last. Repeating champs, hopefully. I know you've got a lot of big teams, a lot of big names out there that we've interviewed that y'all got a target on y'all's back. Y'all do.
Absolutely.
And
hey, that's what I think that me and Mike both, we probably fish the best is
we love the competition.
That's it. That's what it's all about.
It makes us fish that much better.
I'm gonna tell you. I mean,
it's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
Some of those off-camera conversations off of live feeds, I'm telling y'all, like it's gonna be serious in November.
Think about it, Merritt. We went down to the lake right before the cutoff day. A couple of days before the 30-day cutoff. Saw the lake one time. He and I discussed it. We went down there. We knew what we were looking for. We found it. I had done a lot of research online as far as before the lake got filled up, looking at stuff, all this other stuff. Again, electronics and, you know, a little help from up above.
That's a lot of help.
A lot of help from up here, you know. And we came away with it. I mean, let's just hope that we can do it again.
Well, maybe I'll be at the right place, the right time again.
Yeah, that's another thing with this is that's what I love about it. It's being able to shake everybody's hand and you know,
or not shake hands right now, but just maybe fist bump or
fist bump, elbow bump, whatever we got.
We're gonna hug your neck, Merritt.
You know, it's just, you know, I love the competition aspect. I love the you know, interaction between the anglers, and it's that's what keeps me going.
Yeah.
You know, and staying humble. You got to stay humble, especially fishing against I mean, this is the best anglers in the state.
Well, I'm sure most of these guys probably been fishing this thing 10 years longer than we have.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, it's just, I know it's for we'll just call it making north. I mean, this is the best of the best, and staying humble, because at any day, anything it'd be anybody's time. You know, and it's just, I don't know, I'm ready.
Yeah, let's head on out tomorrow. I mean, you pumped up like it's next Saturday still, right?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I mean, we could do like a prelude show, and we just all take all the anglers down there and just get them on the water. So
let's go,
man. Thank y'all again. I'm sitting here watching this timer, and we've been going for an hour 45. We could sit here for another 2 hours and talk fishing. I know.
Yeah, good.
Which y'all probably will whenever we get in this live feed. Y'all probably will still sit there and talk fishing afterwards. So, but fans, I appreciate each and every one of y'all. We all do. Our sponsors, the support that we receive from each and every one. We look forward to future years, the way that Bass Tech is going to continue growing, the support that we've received this year going into next year. Y'all is just going to keep growing, and it's going to be getting better and better and better. So thank y'all.
One thing before we go, I want to thank you, Merrick, thank all the other club presidents and everybody participating, and everybody in these clubs that are fishing. Man, we couldn't do, none of this would be possible without each and every one of you. So thank you all.
Appreciate that. Well, folks, y'all take it easy, and we'll be going back next week. So what I'm thinking is probably Friday. We will take, and I'll try to figure out doing a poll in the next, because I've got some issues here at the house I got to take care of with the holiday weekend coming on Monday and Tuesday. So I'll try to get something out as far as a poll. I don't know if our Bass Tech page can do a poll or not. I know Facebook has it where it's certain ways. Sometimes it can, but do polls, cannot do polls. But I'll come up with something before now and next Saturday, we'll take and have our drawing. So remember, number one way that you get entered in for all these items from our great sponsors for Hooked Up Live, all you have to do is like it, leave us a comment, and the new one, based on Facebook, you got to take and share this live feed. Okay, so I'm looking for those 3 items. If you hadn't done them, you're not going to be entered. If you do it, you're going to be entered to it. So, in that one item that it's a mystery color, but it is green, I promise you. I'm going to take a picture of this and post it on our Bass TEC page so you can really see what it looks like. But it is a line taming serum. We're going to be giving this thing away free. Okay, I know you can't. See, like, look, see my hand?
No, I can't even see your hand. It disappears. We can see the background.
I'm going to do this for folks. I wasn't going to show just a green screen because it looks kind of. Let me see this. Okay, there's my green. See, looky here. Look.
Hey,
there it is.
There it is.
See it? Nailed
Yeah,
it.
It looks like.
You got a rod that matches that green rod.
Yeah.
I thought it was pink.
Yeah.
No.
You're funny. So, all right. Let me get back out of this so we can end it. Thank y'all all. Appreciate it. Mike and Chris.
Thank
See y'all
you.
back out on the water.
Appreciate it.